Have you ever felt completely alone, even in a room full of people? Have you poured your heart into something, worked in silence and looked around only to realize that no one is cheering, no one is noticing, and no one seems to care? It's a harsh truth, but it's one every person chasing something meaningful has to face. Most people will not be there for you until they can see you winning. They won't encourage your early mornings, your late nights, or the endless battles you fight in your mind. They won't celebrate the tiny victories that only you know happen. And it stings. It hurts in a way that can make you question everything, your path, your purpose, even yourself. But here's the secret they don't tell you: that pain, that loneliness, that quiet struggle, it's not a punishment. It's the beginning of something powerful. When no one is cheering, you learn to cheer for yourself. When no one is noticing, you learn to see the value in your own growth. When doors remain closed, you find the strength to build your own. The world has a way of waiting to validate us, of holding its applause until it's sure our efforts are unstoppable. And here's the crucial part. You don't need their applause to succeed. You don't need their approval to keep moving. Every second you spend waiting for someone else to see your worth is a second wasted, a second you could be sharpening yourself, building your skills, and preparing for the moment when results become undeniable. That moment is coming. It will arrive for you, not because the world decided to care, but because you refuse to stop. Think about what it would feel like to look back months, years from now, and see that every struggle, every lonely hour, every doubt that gnawed at you was the very thing that forged your strength. Imagine being so unstoppable that suddenly the same people who ignored you, doubted you, or walked away are now forced to watch you rise. Theirs is a temporary joy. Yours is a permanent transformation. This is why you must stay. This is why you must keep going, even when it seems like you're invisible. Every moment of solitude, every ounce of effort no one notices is an investment in a future where your results will speak louder than any words, louder than any applause, louder than any skepticism. By the end of this journey, you will understand that being unseen was never a setback. It was the crucible that prepared you for greatness. You will realize that real victory isn't measured by who stands beside you in the beginning, but by the power, freedom, and clarity you gain when you stand alone and refuse to quit. And in that clarity, in that quiet strength, you will find the reason to keep going, the reason to fight harder, the reason to believe in yourself when no one else does. Stay with this truth, embrace the loneliness, and let it drive you forward, because by the time you win, everything that once felt like rejection will become the fuel for your unstoppable rise. Have you noticed how some people only appear when success is visible? They smile when the spotlight hits, offer praise when the trophies are shiny, and suddenly seem to care once the results are undeniable. That is the world's way. It is not cruel. It is simply human. Most people are wired to seek association with winners. They are drawn to confidence that is proven, to victory that is evident, to power that cannot be ignored. It's uncomfortable to realize, but your early struggles are invisible, your hard work unnoticed, and your ambition unseen. That's not a reflection of your work. It is a reflection of reality. People do not invest in someone they cannot measure. They will not celebrate the invisible grind, the quiet determination, the countless sacrifices no one witnesses. And yet this truth, as harsh as it feels, is also a gift. Because now, in the absence of applause, you have a choice. You can let their absence diminish you, or you can use it to build yourself in ways that recognition never could. True strength is forged in the shadows, when no one is watching, when you cannot rely on external validation, when you are left alone with nothing but your own drive. Every unacknowledged effort becomes an invisible brick in the foundation of your success. Every moment you endure without praise strengthens your resilience, sharpens your focus, and crystallizes your purpose. The absence of validation strips away distraction. It forces clarity. It forces action. You learn who you are without reflection from others. You learn how to stand, how to endure, how to keep moving when the world refuses to notice. And this is exactly where winners are born. Think about the power of knowing you can rely only on yourself and still move mountains. Imagine how unstoppable you become when the noise of approval no longer controls your actions. Every person who turns away, every skeptic who doubts, every friend who disappears is actually opening space for your growth, for your focus, for your independence. This is not isolation. It is preparation. It is an opportunity to refine your mind, strengthen your habits, and perfect your craft in a way that only solitude allows. The very people who seem absent are inadvertently giving you the greatest gift you could ever receive, the freedom to evolve without expectation, to improve without distraction, and to rise without compromise. And when you finally break through, when the world can no longer ignore your results, you will understand the magnitude of what this absence has given you. You will realize that the faces that once ignored you will only amplify your victory, because nothing in their world prepared them for the force you became in silence. The effort they overlooked, the nights they dismissed, the sacrifices they underestimated, all of it has forged something unshakable. Your success will not just be a product of talent or luck. It will be a testament to your ability to thrive without permission, to grow without applause, to win without reliance. This is the invisible power that the world fears, the kind of strength that no encouragement can manufacture, and the kind of resilience that no external support can replicate. And so the question is no longer whether they will notice you. It is whether you will notice yourself, whether you will trust your own power, whether you will honor the effort you have invested when no one else would. Because the truth is, the people who appear later, the ones who join only after victory, are not your measure. Your measure is the fire that burns within when the room is empty, the courage that rises when the cheer is absent, the unwavering persistence that continues long after everyone else has walked away. Embrace that, own it, and let it become the force that drives you past every doubt, past every delay, past every distraction, straight toward the moment when no one can deny your rise. Have you ever noticed that the loneliest people are often the ones moving the fastest toward their dreams? That sense of isolation, that quiet tension, is not a sign that you are failing. It is proof that you are reaching beyond the comfort zone of ordinary lives. Most people are content with approval, with comfort, with being understood. You are not. Your vision sets you apart, and visions are rarely understood in their infancy. It is natural for the world to leave you standing alone because what you are building cannot be seen yet. The seeds of greatness exist in places others cannot perceive. They require darkness, patience, and unwavering dedication. And while the world may leave you unseen, unseen does not mean powerless. It means you are free, free to grow without interference, free to focus without distraction, free to sculpt your life into something extraordinary while others chase approval, validation, and fleeting attention. The loneliness you feel is not empty. It is a crucible. Every moment spent fighting internal doubt, every second spent resisting the pull of giving up, every hour spent improving while unnoticed is building a foundation that cannot be shaken. Science shows that mastery, resilience, and high achievement thrive in solitude because the mind is free to focus on what matters, unencumbered by noise or expectation. The stronger your internal drive, the less you depend on external voices to confirm your value. The people who ignore you are not obstacles. They are proof that your mission is yours alone. If your worth depended on their recognition, you would never rise. But it doesn't. Your worth has always existed in the effort you invest, in the courage you summon, in the choices you make when no one else is watching. Imagine what it will feel like to finally emerge from this period of quiet, to look back and realize that every struggle you endured, every night of doubt, every moment of isolation was actually preparation for something far greater. Your solitude was sharpening your focus. Your silence was building your strength. Your pain was teaching resilience. The world's indifference was training you to rely on the one person who will never leave, yourself. And when you do step into the light, when your results become undeniable, everything that once felt like loneliness will reveal itself as your greatest advantage. Those who doubted you, who ignored you, who walked away will watch, not knowing how to reconcile the force you have become in their absence. This is the power of knowing that no one can define your potential but you. When you stop waiting for recognition, the work itself becomes intoxicating. Each step forward, each boundary pushed, each skill mastered becomes its own reward. Motivation is no longer borrowed from applause, it comes from within. You are building a life that demands respect, not one that asks for it. The people who will eventually stand by your side are drawn to that energy, to the certainty, to the relentless pursuit of excellence. They are not the ones who showed up before your victory. They are the ones who will recognize the magnitude of your achievement because they cannot ignore it. So ask yourself right now, Are you willing to embrace the silence, to endure the doubt, to keep moving when no one is watching? Because this is where true strength is born. This is where greatness is forged. This is where your character, your discipline, and your vision are hardened into something unstoppable. And the day comes when the world can no longer ignore you, when every effort you invested in solitude explodes into results that speak louder than words. That day will arrive, and it will arrive because you refuse to stop, because you chose to grow alone, and because you understood that the loneliness of vision is not a curse. It is the gateway to victory. Have you felt the weight of struggle pressing down, the relentless pressure of life testing every ounce of your patience and determination? That weight is not meant to break you, it's meant to sharpen you. Pain is a teacher disguised as hardship, a force that molds the ordinary into the extraordinary. Every setback, every failure, every moment where it feels like the world is against you is a signal that you are pushing beyond comfort, beyond the limits that most people accept without question. Science shows that adversity rewires the brain, strengthens focus, and builds resilience. The discomfort you feel is evidence that your mind and body are adapting to something greater, preparing you for a level of success that could not exist without these trials. It is natural to resist pain, to wish it away, to feel frustrated that the world is not easier, kinder, or fairer. But every person who achieves greatness knows the truth. The very resistance you fight against, the very struggle you despise, is the catalyst for transformation. Pain forces clarity. It exposes weakness. It illuminates the areas where courage, discipline, and determination must grow. When you stop avoiding it, when you stop wishing for shortcuts, you discover that your capacity to endure is far greater than you imagine. The very thing you fear is the very thing that will give you strength no one else can take from you. Think about this. While others seek comfort, you are building power. While others rely on support, you are learning self-reliance. While others wait for approval, you are learning to trust your own judgment, to measure progress by the effort you put in rather than the praise you receive. Every moment of pain, every ounce of struggle is creating a foundation so strong that when success finally arrives, it will not just be an achievement, it will be a transformation. You will not only have results, you will have the resilience, confidence, and clarity that can never be taken from you. Pain, when embraced, becomes fuel. It becomes motivation. It becomes the force that propels you forward when the world refuses to notice. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up is not talent, luck, or circumstance. It is the willingness to face pain without flinching, to continue when no one is watching, to endure the grind that others avoid. Your vision will demand this of you. Your dreams will require it. The invisible effort, the lonely struggle, the battles with self-doubt, all of it is your proving ground. Those who appear only after victory have not experienced this crucible. They have not been forged in the fires of their own persistence. That is why their recognition is shallow. Your achievement, born from struggle and perseverance, will carry a depth and power that cannot be replicated. Ask yourself, can you see pain not as punishment, but as preparation? Can you endure the quiet battles, the relentless grind, the moments where the world ignores your effort, and still move forward with unwavering focus? Because every second you spend leaning into this struggle, every choice to persist when it feels impossible is a step toward the unstoppable version of yourself. When you finally emerge, when your results demand attention, you will look back and realize that every moment of discomfort, every ounce of struggle was not a barrier. It was the very thing that propelled you beyond the reach of anyone who doubted, ignored, or walked away. Pain is not your enemy. It is your ally, your secret weapon, and most powerful force driving you toward victory. Have you ever realized how much of your energy is wasted chasing approval, seeking validation, or hoping someone else will notice your worth? The desire for recognition is natural, but it can become a trap, a silent prison that keeps you dependent on the judgment of others. Every time you measure your value by someone else's attention, you surrender control over your own destiny. Approval is fleeting, praise is conditional, and the world applauds only what it already sees as successful. Chasing it too early is a distraction from the real work, the work that transforms you from someone who hopes into someone who commands results. True power does not come from others nodding or clapping. It comes from the relentless commitment to your vision. Even when the room is silent and the world is indifferent, when you stop seeking approval, you start to see clearly. You start to notice the small victories that nobody else will celebrate. You start to recognize the growth that only you can measure. And in that clarity, a profound freedom emerges. The freedom to act without hesitation, to persist without apology, to take risks that others are too afraid to take. The people who only support winners have no role in your transformation. Their absence is not rejection, it is permission to focus. The absence of cheerleaders gives you room to sharpen your skills, to build your discipline, to refine your craft, and to grow in ways that cannot be hurried, copied, or diminished. Approval is external, mastery is internal, and mastery always precedes recognition. Think about the power of working in silence. Every hour spent honing your abilities, every moment spent resisting distraction, every challenge you face alone compounds into momentum that no applause can accelerate. While the world seeks spectacle, you are creating substance. While others wait for encouragement, you are building endurance. While they hope for easy success, you are earning unstoppable results. This is the psychology of achievement. The longer you cultivate your skill in obscurity, the more explosive your emergence will be. And when the world finally sees what you have built, it will not matter who was cheering along the way, because your results will speak with authority, clarity, and impact that cannot be denied. Ask yourself this: can you commit to effort without immediate reward? Can you push forward when no one is watching, when no one understands, when recognition is absent? Because the truth is, those who endure this stage are the ones who become unshakable. They are the ones whose confidence is not borrowed from applause, but forged from discipline. They are the ones who do not wait for permission to succeed. They take it. Every moment spent working quietly, every choice to persist without validation becomes a seed for future dominance. When you finally step into the light, every whisper of doubt you ever felt will be silenced by the undeniable truth of your achievement. The people who celebrate you afterward are not the measure of your worth. The test, the proven ground, and the real reward all exist in the work you do when the world is silent. The longer you master the art of intrinsic motivation, the more unstoppable you become. Your victories will be deeper, your confidence unbreakable, and your journey unmistakably your own. Approval is optional. Mastery is essential. Choose mastery, embrace the silence, work relentlessly, and watch as the results you create demand the recognition that was always meant to follow. Have you noticed how much the world underestimates those who move quietly, those who watch, listen, and prepare while others rush to be seen? That invisibility, that quiet patience is not weakness, it is strategy. Every moment spent observing, learning, and sharpening yourself is a step ahead of everyone who relies on noise, spectacle, or instant recognition. While they chase applause, you are building skill. While they wait for permission, you are creating it. Observation in silence is the foundation of mastery because it allows you to understand the rules, anticipate challenges, and prepare solutions before anyone else even sees the problem. The quiet work you do now compounds, and its power is invisible until it becomes unstoppable. This stage of preparation is where winners separate themselves from dreamers. The mind absorbs patterns, the body refines habits, and the spirit builds endurance in ways that cannot be rushed. Science confirms that delayed action guided by thoughtful observation produces higher efficiency and stronger results. Every hour spent learning the landscape, analyzing your craft, and practicing in private is an investment in an inevitable breakthrough. You may feel invisible. You may feel ignored. You may feel that the world is moving without you. But the truth is, your invisibility is your advantage. It allows you to move without pressure, to experiment without judgment, and to build momentum that will hit harder than anyone expects. Consider the power of anticipation. When you understand the terrain before others do, when you see patterns and weaknesses they ignore, when you prepare quietly while the crowd reacts impulsively, you hold a form of authority that is untouchable. You are not just waiting, you are positioning yourself. You are turning silence into a tool, isolation into strategy, and patience into dominance. Every choice to act deliberately, every effort to improve without recognition is creating leverage. And leverage is invisible until the right moment. Then, when you move, it is unstoppable, undeniable, and commanding. Ask yourself, can you embrace the quiet phase, not as punishment or stagnation, but as preparation? Can you see the value in being unnoticed while sharpening your edge, in being unseen while gathering knowledge, in being underestimated while building strength? Every moment spent in silence, every hour invested in mastery, every detail perfected while others rest or rush is creating exponential impact. Those who cannot endure this phase will chase visibility without substance. You, however, will emerge with precision, focus, and skill that leaves no question of your legitimacy. The people who eventually recognize your brilliance will only witness the results, not the relentless effort behind them. That is how power works. Recognition follows mastery, not the other way around. The quiet work you do now is laying the foundation for a presence so strong that it cannot be ignored. This is where champions are forged, not in applause, not in praise, but in the invisible discipline of preparation. By committing to silent, deliberate growth, you are ensuring that when the world finally sees you, it will see someone who cannot be overlooked, someone who cannot be underestimated, someone whose results are a force of inevitability. Use this silence, own this invisibility, let it become your secret weapon, because what is built in quiet will shake the world when revealed. Have you ever realized that the first victories that matter are not visible to anyone but yourself? True triumph begins internally, in the quiet choices, the disciplined habits, and the relentless consistency that no one witnesses. Every morning you rise before the world stirs. Every hour you invest in skill while others rest. Every decision to persist when doubt gnaws at your mind is a victory that compounds in power. External recognition is temporary. Internal mastery is permanent. Your ability to control your thoughts, your actions, and your focus under pressure becomes a fortress no external force can breach. This is where winners are made, not in applause, not in praise, but in the self-discipline that carries them through the unseen struggles. When you conquer yourself first, everything else becomes a reflection of that internal strength. Research shows that self-mastery predicts long-term success more accurately than talent, opportunity, or luck. The mind, when trained to endure discomfort, delay gratification, and resist distraction, creates unstoppable momentum. You become a force not because the world notices you, but because you have learned to notice yourself, to measure progress by effort rather than acknowledgement, to celebrate growth that exists independently of applause. Internal victories are the foundation for every achievement that follows. They make you resilient, confident, and unshakable. Without them, any external success is fragile, dependent on circumstances and other people's validation. With them, you can rise in any situation, against any opposition, and withstand every obstacle. Ask yourself, are you willing to honor your own effort above all else? Are you willing to cultivate a version of yourself that does not bend to public opinion, that does not falter under the gaze of doubt, that persists even when the world is indifferent? Because this is the path to true power. The ability to act with integrity, focus, and discipline when no one is watching is the secret that separates those who dream from those who achieve. Every skill you develop in private, every habit you refine in silence, every moment of self-control builds a version of you that is impervious to external judgment. This internal victory is more valuable than any temporary cheer, more enduring than any fleeting recognition, and more transformative than any shortcut to fame. The people who eventually notice your success are witnessing only the surface of what you have built. They see the results, but not the relentless effort, the late nights, the sacrifices, or the internal battles that shape those results. That is their limitation, not yours. Your power grows from within, fueled by discipline, resilience, and clarity of purpose. Every internal victory strengthens your resolve, sharpens your focus, and equips you to dominate the external world with precision and authority. This is why it is essential to prioritize mastery over recognition, effort over approval, and discipline over applause. Embrace the truth. No one can give you the strength you build yourself. No one can define your worth but you. Every moment you invest in self-mastery, every challenge you face and overcome alone, every internal victory compounds into the force that will eventually demand recognition. The work you do in silence, the resilience you cultivate when unseen, and the discipline you enforce in solitude will become the foundation for external triumphs so powerful they cannot be ignored. Win inside first, and the world will have no choice but to follow. There comes a moment when persistence, patience, and relentless effort begin to shift reality. It is subtle at first. A door opens here, a recognition there, A breakthrough you can almost feel building beneath the surface, but it is unmistakable. This is the turning point, the moment where the quiet work, the internal victories, and the disciplined preparation converge into unstoppable momentum. Until now, the world has ignored you, dismissed you, or underestimated you, but results do not lie. When you have honed your skills, mastered your mind, and endured in silence, recognition becomes inevitable. The power that was invisible, the force that was quiet, now asserts itself in ways that demand attention. It is at this stage that the laws of human behavior become undeniable. People are drawn to success, not struggle. They respect results, not effort. They follow mastery, not promise. And this is why the turning point is so critical. It is the first time the world can no longer ignore what you have been building in silence. Your persistence creates proof. Your discipline creates authority. Your resilience creates momentum that cannot be denied. The same people who doubted, overlooked, or abandoned you are forced to witness your rise, not because they anticipated, but because you refused to wait for permission to succeed. You acted, you prepared, and you became unstoppable while they were still hoping for visibility without effort. Think about the energy that comes from reaching this threshold. Every moment of struggle, every hour of invisible work, every sacrifice that felt unrecognized begins to crystallize into confidence, clarity, and authority. You realize that your value has never been determined by external validation. It has been shaped by your commitment, your courage, and your ability to endure. This awareness is transformative because it shifts your focus from chasing approval to creating impact. Recognition is no longer a goal. It becomes a byproduct of relentless execution. The results you produce now are a reflection of the preparation, resilience, and discipline cultivated in isolation. Ask yourself, can you embrace this process? Can you continue pushing when the world is indifferent, knowing that every small, consistent action is constructing a force too powerful to ignore? This is the test of those who rise to true greatness. They do not quit when unseen. They do not falter when dismissed. They do not slow when the applause is absent. Their momentum is generated from within, from the certainty that their work, no matter how silent, is shaping an unstoppable future. Every obstacle becomes fuel. Every delay becomes opportunity. Every doubt becomes clarity. The turning point is proof that the invisible journey matters more than the visible reward. It confirms that persistence outlasts expectation, discipline outlasts distraction, and preparation outlasts impatience. It is a moment when the quiet labor of months, years, or even decades coalesces into undeniable results. The world may have ignored you, but it cannot ignore excellence. The people who were absent in your struggle are now witnesses to your transformation, but their observation does not define your worth. The worth was always in the work you were willing to do alone. This is the power of the turning point. It is the first undeniable sign that you are no longer invisible. You are unstoppable, undeniable, and on the threshold of a victory that the world cannot take away. Recognition will come, but it will always arrive as a consequence, never as a guarantee. The world does not owe you validation. People will not cheer for the effort they cannot see. They will not celebrate the progress that exists in the quiet hours, in the invisible discipline, in the repeated acts of courage that go unnoticed. This is a hard truth, but it is also liberating. When you stop waiting for others to confirm your value, you step into freedom. You stop being reactive and start being deliberate. Every decision, every action, every ounce of energy becomes an investment in results that cannot be disputed, in outcomes that do not require permission, in victories that speak louder than any applause. Recognition is no longer a necessity. It is the echo of achievement, a byproduct of relentless commitment to excellence. The psychology behind this is simple. Humans respond to proof, not promise. Until your results are undeniable, your effort is invisible. Until your mastery is apparent, your vision is abstract. This is why chasing approval is a trap. It pulls you outward, dilutes focus, and forces you to rely on external factors over internal strength. When you understand that recognition is earned, not expected, you reclaim control. You measure success by your own standards, by your ability to endure, adapt, and excel in ways that no one else can dictate. The moment you embrace this mindset, you transform effort into power, struggle into growth, and patience into inevitability. Think about the advantage this creates. While others rely on applause, you rely on preparation. While they wait for validation, you create momentum. While they chase fleeting attention, you cultivate mastery. This is why those who persevere in silence ultimately dominate. The work they put in when no one is watching compounds into results that demand respect. Your results will be so visible, so undeniable, that the world cannot ignore them. Recognition becomes inevitable because excellence cannot be hidden indefinitely. The delayed acknowledgement is a natural filter. It separates those who rely on external validation from those who build unstoppable internal strength. Ask yourself, are you willing to commit to this principle, to work for results that only you can see at first, to endure when the world is indifferent, to invest in mastery before applause? Because this is what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. The people who only appear after success are drawn to power, not effort. They respect results, not the quiet struggle that produced them. That is why your focus must remain on the unseen work, the silent victories, the internal discipline that cannot be taken away. Your purpose and your persistence are the only measures that matter. The ultimate reward comes not in fleeting approval, but in the unshakable certainty of your own capability. When recognition finally arrives, it will not define you. It will reflect what you have already built within yourself, your strength, resilience, and mastery will precede any applause, any acknowledgement, any external celebration. Those who stand beside you at that point will do so because they respect the force you have become, not because they once saw potential. This is the profound truth. Recognition follows mastery, attention follows achievement, and respect follows results. Win internally first, and the world will have no choice but to follow. Betrayal, indifference, and abandonment are not signs that you are failing. They are mirrors that reveal the truth about those around you and the clarity of your own purpose. People will show their true colors long before your results make them pay attention. Friends who vanish in your struggle, partners who doubt your vision, colleagues who undermine your efforts. These moments are not setbacks, they are filters. They remove distractions, reveal who is aligned with your path, and leave you with the space to cultivate relationships that matter. Every person who turns away is a lesson in discernment. Every absence is a reminder that your mission is yours alone, and your success cannot depend on the loyalty of those who do not understand it. The psychological truth is powerful. Adversity exposes character. The world does not shape you through comfort. It shapes you through challenge. Betrayal tests your resilience. Indifference tests your focus. And abandonment tests your self-reliance. These experiences are not obstacles to your journey. They are accelerants. They force you to dig deeper, to trust yourself more, to cultivate a strength that is unshakable because it is internal, not dependent on anyone else's approval or presence. The very people who once seemed essential will pale in comparison to the power you develop when you persist despite their absence. Every rejection, every withdrawal of support, every moment of solitude is an opportunity to forge independence, discipline, and relentless determination. Ask yourself, can you see betrayal not as a wound, but as clarity? Can you feel the sting of indifference and still move forward with unwavering commitment to your goals? Can you embrace abandonment as a natural filter, as a necessary test that separates those who are willing to endure from those who will quit when it is hardest? The answer must be yes, because the measure of your potential is not in the company you keep, but in the courage you summon when no one stands beside you. Strength is built in solitude, resilience in challenge, and character in moments where the world feels absent. The people who turn away are not failures. They are reminders of the extraordinary nature of your path. Your focus must remain on growth, not on recovering approval. Your energy must remain on mastery, not on convincing others to understand. Your persistence must remain unshakable because the journey you are on demands a level of internal fortitude that no external validation can replace. Each experience of betrayal, each moment of neglect, each rejection you face is reinforcing the very skills that will make your eventual triumph undeniable. You are learning to rely solely on yourself, to measure worth through effort, courage, and consistency, and to create results that speak louder than words, promises, or applause. By the time you arrive at victory, the world will notice. The people who once abandoned you will witness the force of someone who refused to depend on them. Their presence at that moment does not define your success. They merely bear witness to it. The true reward lies in the knowledge that you endured, that you grew, that you mastered yourself in the absence of support. Betrayal, indifference, and abandonment are not obstacles. They are the crucibles that prepare you to rise above anyone who underestimated you. Embrace them, learn from them, and allow them to become the fuel that drives you to a victory so powerful, so undeniable, that no one can ignore the force you have become. Unusual activity has been detected from your device. Try again later.